Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever devlog for Project Rhythmia. In today's devlog, we're going to be talking about our gathering and crafting systems, and also some of the offhand abilities and abilities what is possible on our armor sets. Obviously, this is still an alpha state, so everything in this video is subject to change or be tweaked a little bit. But if there's anything changed, I'll make sure to add it into our description, our little change logs. But currently in Rhythmia, we have two types of gathering. We have our ore gathering and our herb gathering. And then in the future, we are hoping to add fishing systems to go around different lakes and catching different schools of fish. We also currently have a couple crafting sets where we have alchemy, gem crafting, blacksmithing, magic crafting, and also cooking and leatherworking. When going around Rhythmia, you'll find random nodes. So for instance, in this coal pile, we can see there is some coal. Most of our ores are always found within deep mines, but we do have some in the overworld, so you can quickly find some. Our gathering system is pretty simple. It's a matter of just walking up to the node. As you can see at the minute, I have a rusty hoe in my hand, I have a steel pickaxe and a normal pickaxe. And the only difference between these two is you can see one requires level 10 and the other one requires level 1. And you can still use these pickaxes on any node you want. The only difference is when you're using the rusty pickaxe on a higher tier node, it's going to take a little bit longer compared to the steel. And so on through our entire tiers of different gathering tools. So for instance, if we hit this node with the hoe, it'll tell us off and tell us we need to switch to the pickaxe. Simply go into the pickaxe, we can click on the node, and you can see it'll auto gather it for us, and we gather 40 XP and 1 coal. And the same again, we can walk up to this other one, but this time we'll use a steel one. If you noticed before, it took about 3 hits to gather this node. With the steel one, it only takes 2. And this will also progress all the way to the highest tier, what currently will be Mithril. And that is the fundamentals of our gathering systems. Of our ore systems. And then same again, we can go over here and we can see we've got some herbs called life root. And you'll notice all of our models are custom 3D models. And the idea behind this is whenever you're going around the world and you can easily spot them and know it's not a piece of decor, it's actually a gatherable node. So by switching to the hoe, same again, we can quickly click on it and gather it. So you can see we gathered 40 XP again and 1 life root from that. And the one fun thing we've actually added to Rhythmia is we have a dynamic XP system, meaning the higher level you are and you're mining a lower level tier of node, the less XP you'll get. And by able to figure out what level of XP we're actually going to be getting, we can go into our menu system, into our inventory system, then into our menu. And then inside of here, we have a little wiki where it is our profession tab. So within here, we can actually see all the current professions. So we can see mining. So we know we're at level 12 and we currently have 80 XP. By going into this tab, excuse me, we can see all of the ores, what is possible to gather. Some of these we can't currently gather because we're not high enough level. So for instance, the Mithril, we can see requires level 40. And we can see it says base XP is 100. And the XP we will get is 100 XP. So we'll get all of it because when we eventually get to that tier, it will be the tier we need to gather. And also, it does show us all the possible drops from mining that ore. So we can see we'll get 1 mithril ore, and we have a chance of getting a gem from that. So as we were saying before, if we look into the coal, we can see the base XP is still 100, but we're only going to get 40 XP from it now because it's a level 1 ore and it's a tier 1, and we currently are in tier 2, meaning this is progressively going to get worse for us. So if we looked at the tier 2 gems, for instance, we can see we'll get 100% XP from these, and we can currently gather them. Meaning, the higher and higher we get, the less XP from the lower stuff we'll get. So by the time we get to cobalt, the actual coal and iron and magical essence will actually give us 0 XP. We can still gather it, but we won't get any benefits. And this is done to try and make players go into high level tier zones to gather and not always saturate these areas with lots of people and competing against low level ores. So it gives everyone a chance to progress their gathering. So that is currently the fundamentals we have in our gathering systems. And then we'll now just move quickly on to our actual crafting. So when it comes to crafting, as before we said, what we have, so we have the blacksmithing, where this is where you're going to pretty much craft all of our heavy armors, what is high HP and low damage, and also you're going to be crafting your things like swords, two-hand swords, and battle axes. Then we have also our medium armors, where this is a hybrid in between a little bit of damage and a little bit of HP, so you're in between, and you'll also be crafting your bows and crossbows. And then after that, we have our light armors, what is not a lot of HP, but a lot of output for damage, and also our fire and ice staffs. And then after that, we've just got our utility crafting stations, where we have cooking, alchemy, and gem crafting. But let's first look into our blacksmithing. So coming into our blacksmithing station, we can go up to our ingot crafting station, and we can craft ourselves some ingots. So at the minute, we can see we can currently craft iron, steel, and amethyst. And we can see there is 2 empty slots. And the reason why this is because currently we haven't unlocked those levels to be able to craft our cobalt and our mithril. So if we then actually go into our smithing table, since we already have some ore, we can see again, those 2 are completely missing. And we can go into, I don't know, let's say for instance amethyst. And same again, we can see we actually have some missing slots, because we're not high enough level yet to be able to craft them. And we understand one question people ask is, what level do I unlock these? And we can do the same thing again by going into our menu, into our professions, and this time we'll go into blacksmithing, so we can see we're currently level 20. And then we'll go into our smithing, and then now we can see that we have these 2 slots available, because this is only a wiki, this isn't physically crafting. So since we did look at the amethyst and we only saw we had half of the items there, we can see in this page we have everything. So we can hover over, for instance, this the amethyst chest plate. It'll tell us some extra information by going, we'll unlock this at level 28. So we need to progress 8 more levels to be able to craft this piece of gear. It also shows us the requirements. So we know we need 8 amethyst bars, and it also shows us that it'll craft with a random passive and a random gem slot. What's pretty cool. So by going back into the actual crafting station, let's craft ourselves a steel one. So since we saw we can have things with random abilities and gem slots, let's actually craft the chest plate. By clicking on it, we'll go into the crafting station. We have to wait a couple of seconds for it to craft. Once crafted, we can click on it, and we can see it's now in our inventory. And we can see that it's crafted with Guardian level 2 and also a blue gem slot. And by pressing on it again, we'll craft another one, and hopefully this one will be, well, it should be completely different. Obviously there's a small chance, so it's the same, but obviously we can see this time it's crafted with second life and a red gem. So we have the same piece of gear with the same stats, but 2 different abilities and different gems. Meaning you're going to continuously want to craft different gear to get like the best, well, whatever you determine is the best passive and gems. And also these become now tradable, and people look out for whatever the meta will be at the time. Also, when crafting, you can see we have some offhands, what also craft with random abilities. So let's craft a shield. Once crafted, it'll go into our inventory again. So we can see this one actually crafted with an ability called Rallying Call. One of the other questions we know people ask is, what abilities can my gear actually craft with? So by, same again, going back into our menu, but this time we're going to go into weapon skill trees. We can see all the possible weapons we have, but we have one tab here called Armor. By going to the Armor tab, we can see some abilities will appear on our screen, what are possible to be crafted. By hovering over the armor on the second tab, we can see it says Heavy Armor, and we know this is Heavy Armor, and we can see here all of the random abilities. So we have Shield Lock, Guardian, Second Life, and Slow Heal, and obviously we can see these are the abilities we have here. And this is also the same by going into offhands, and we can see the abilities. So we know we had a shield, and there is Rallying Call. On the subject of random abilities, as we can see when we have a weapon into our hand and we enter into our cast mode, we can see I've currently got 3 abilities. Excuse me. And we can see the 4th ability actually is unavailable. And by exiting cast mode, and by equipping our shield into our offhand slot and going back into cast mode, we can see now that fourth ability is available. And if we look at the top corner over here, when I cast, we'll see Rallying Call is now an active buff. That's pretty cool. So once all that basic crafting is finished, we can, for instance, go into our magic place, where we can craft different magical items, for instance, light armors, holy tomes, and spell books. And as you can see, it requires something on the components called magical essence. And magical essences require scrap and coal. And it's as simple as clicking on it, and it will consume the resources and crafters. Sometimes you'll come across and you'll try and figure out how to get scrap, and this is simply done by going to a disenchanting station where you'll be greeted to a new UI where we can actually disenchant gear. And by getting our, for instance, steel chestplate we just crafted, and by adding it to this blue slot here, we can see that on the other side, we're now going to disenchant this piece of gear, what will permanently destroy it. So it'll be one of those, making sure you're disenchanting the correct piece, to then get ourselves an uncommon essence. And then same again, this one-hand sword is a common item. By putting the common item in here, you'll see we'll get a scrap. Then we can go over, for instance, our leatherworking stations, where we're going to craft our bows and our light armors. Obviously, I'm quite low level in this at the moment. And this all works identically to blacksmithing, and we saw when crafting lighter gears. Obviously, in the chestplate, what we saw, we have an available red gem slot in this. Unfortunately, we've not got a red gem, but we can go to these crafting gem stations by clicking on it, and you can see we're greeted to another UI. And by inputting some gems into these, we can actually upgrade them by adding 2 gems. So, well, 3. For instance, I'll put 2 greens at the moment and a blue. You'll see nothing happens. But the second we replace this blue gem with a green gem, so we have 3 level 1 gems, what give us 2 HP each. We are now going to upgrade it to a level 2 gem, what gives us 6 by combining them all together. And this can be done all the way to level 4 currently. So if we had 3 level 2 gems, we could add these and we'll get level 3. 3 level 3 gems and we'll get level 4. And then obviously in the future, this will progressively get higher and higher, depending on where we are within content, and to add a bit of power creep. These are some of the fundamentals crafting stations what we currently have within Rhythmia, and they are quite versatile to make you a little bit more unique by having different gems, different abilities, and also you can wear whatever gear you like. So for instance, if you're a sword user, you could actually wear light armor and be a very heavy damage output, but also be very squishy whilst being in the main combat. And this is one thing what we're really hoping for feedback on, and see how you guys enjoy the crafting aspects of it, and all the gathering. And any feedback would be very helpful. Obviously, we have our Alpha 1 coming out very soon, and so you'll be able to get hands-on with this. And like we said, any feedback, we would love it. And hopefully everything goes smooth and you all enjoy it. But anyway, thank you very much for sticking out this long for our first ever devlog. We'll be doing some more in the future on our combat and questing systems. And just stay tuned. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. See you later.